Good morning, ma'am. A warm good morning to one and all connect for this webinar on greenhouse by Mr. K. Venkatraman. Mr. K. Venkatraman is currently working as regional head technical service with Ultratech Cement Limited, the flagship company of Aditya Birla Group, and it is based at Vijayawada, looking after Andhra Pradesh. He graduated in civil engineering from NIT Rukela, Odisha, formerly called REC Rukela, MTech in construction engineering and management, and MBA from Global Next University, Malaysia. He has a huge work experience. He has 26 years of industrial experience. He was early working with the Grabsim Industry Limited, White Cement Division, and was a key contributor for the promotion of white cement, wall care, and precast glass fiber reinforced concrete. He actively promoted good construction practice for the betterment of the construction industry. He lay much emphasis on human resource development and training. He was the secretary and treasurer of ACCI at Chennai and the secretary and treasurer of ICI Chennai Center. He is currently the treasurer of recently opened Vijayawada Center of Indian Concrete Institute. Happy to have you, sir. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
You can start, sir. Welcome you, sir.
Yes, madam. Thank you very much. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is visible, sir.
Okay. Very good morning to one and all. First of all, thanks to the HOD and the management for the opportunity given. I'm not really an expert in this green, but still I have gathered some information regarding green homes. I thought it would be apt to share the information with the budding engineers because of the huge societal responsibility they are going to shoulder when they become professional engineer. So with that intention only, I have prepared this presentation. Wherever I have shared, people felt quite happy with the information they received. I also hope that the same thing may be repeated here. So with that brief introduction, I'll just proceed to the topic. Maybe I should take about 45 minutes or so. The sources I have taken the information, basically there are two agencies who are very active in our country. One is IGBC, that is the Indian Green Building Council. Second is GRIHA, Green Rating for Integrated Habitat Assessment. And I also have taken the information from IGBC AP, the accredited professionals, and also internet. The objective of this presentation is to create basic awareness about general green building practices in buildings. I'm just showing the slide here on iceberg. The purpose here is it's a huge rock of ice, but what you see actually is only 10 or 20% above the surface. A major chunk of this ice mass is below the surface, which may not be visible to naked eye. Point here is the information in this presentation may have about 10% or 15% or maybe 1%, depends on how you take it. So, but besides this, there are a lot of information available in the internet, and particularly the two agencies which I have cited in my previous slide. Post this presentation, you are welcome to browse these two websites and get a lot of information. Now here I am showing you a picture which is I think known to everyone, which is the flooding caused in Chennai a few years back. You find here it is the purpose of showing this is the disaster is actually man-made. The waterway we blocked it by constructing buildings. So one of the reason for our own disaster causing is our own actions. So that is the purpose of showing this slide. Another slide where you can see it's Uttarakhand flash flood. A lot of buildings got constructed along the hill areas without taking any proper landslide control measures. So that has also resulted in sudden flash flood and the cause of, loss of lives and properties. And the popular word we hear is global warming. It's a very popular word among all the technocrats in the management side. So what we are today, 2019-20, future what will be? So it is in our hands. So whether we carry forward this 2020, 19 or previous years to the future years ahead, or how we are going to leave the world to the successive generations. So that is in our hands. So with that brief intro, we'll get into this green homes, the way of life. Here you can see I'm showing 4 buildings. All the 4 buildings are basically green buildings, but appearance wise it may not appear as green, but they are green buildings. But between normal building and green building, you don't really see any difference appearance wise. So what is the need for green building? One common perception with respect to this term global warming is generally our thinking is only automobile industry causes huge pollution, and that in turn raises the earth temperature and leads to global warming, depletion of ozone layer and all. On the contrary, there is one more major sector, which is the building and construction sector, which is a major contributor to global warming. And we being civil engineers, we are in charge for this building and construction sector. So it is our social responsibility to ensure that our contribution to the global warming issue is minimized to the greatest possible extent. In this case, you see 25 to 40% of global energy consumption comes from building and construction sector. Similarly, around 40% of global greenhouse gas emissions and a huge quantity of solid waste is being generated from the building and construction sector only. So that is a basic need. How we can, if you look at the opposite side, then we are moving towards green building. If you are able to reduce energy consumption, we are moving towards green. If we are able to reduce emission of greenhouse gases, we will be moving towards green. If we are able to reduce solid waste generation or utilize it in a better way, we will be moving towards green. So that is the opposite of these statements. Now, building sector expected growth in the country by 2030, we should be touching about 100 billion square feet of built-up area. So currently, if you see about 7 to 8 billion square feet built-up area is covered as green. So, and if you see the future prospect of 100 billion, so somewhere around 10% of the building only is covered as green, approximately. So there is a huge scope available either to convert the existing building into green or to make the future buildings as a green building, as green buildings. So what is the need for green development? It is a national imperative, and as civil engineers, as entrepreneurs, as business people, there are good opportunities available in green buildings and built environment. So what is green? Other than the color, which is known to all of us, in our parlance, green is something, it is an activity which you do, which will lead to either energy efficiency or use of either recycled products or recyclable products in our buildings, or energy which is in the renewable form, like wind energy or solar energy, or water efficiency. So any such activities which helps to improve the energy efficiency, which helps to improve the conservation of natural resources. So all these kind of things, you can call them as green. And ultimately, all this will lead to what? It will lead to sustainable development. We often hear this word sustainability in almost all the technical forums. Uh, Sustainable development. What exactly it means in simple terms? It is the use of resources to meet our needs, maybe our present needs, without depriving the resources for future generations. Very easy to say, what we enjoy today, it should be made available to the successive generations. That is what I have showed, we have showed in the earlier slide, 2019, and the future is what. So if what you enjoy here, what benefits you are currently having, resources having, we are able to preserve, save, and keep it for the future generation. Future generation will bless us instead of cursing us what the previous generation have done. So that is what we call sustainable development. And the basic definition, not very tough definition, very simple. A green building is one which consumes less water, where the energy consumption is optimal. I won't say minimal, optimal, because you need energy also to run the building. And this also conserves natural resources by using either recyclable material or recycled materials, so thereby preserving the virgin materials of the earth. And it also generates less waste. If you're able to achieve this and provide good ventilation and lighting, so inside the space will be quite healthier, comfortable, and for the occupants of the building when compared to conventional building. Key performance areas. There are 5 broad areas. Okay, now we understood the need for green building and the definition of green building. If you want to construct a green building, what are the major areas which we should be focusing on? As per IGBC, which is nothing but Indian Green Building Council. That is the extended arm of US GBC, United States Green Building Council. So they have given about 5 broad areas: sustainable sites, water efficiency, energy and atmosphere, material and resources, indoor environmental quality. So if you look at, if you are able to focus your project keeping these 5 categories in mind, then we are moving in the right direction towards green. And it's easily understandable, but how to remember it? If you see the Indian style of the same 5 categories, we would like to call it as Panchabhutas. So instead of remembering sustainable site, water efficiency, if you think it's very understandable but difficult to remember, you can remember these 5 elements of nature, the Panchabhutas, what we call earth, air, water, sky, and fire. Nilam, Neer, Kaatru, Nerpu, Agayam, like that. So in your project, if you are able to accommodate broadly these 5 elements of nature, then you are moving to green. That's what we can say. But next question is green concept new to us? Actually not. The concept of green building, it is not new to us. See the olden, our ancestral traditional buildings or villages. You used to have a huge pond in front of a temple which used to serve as the perennial source of water for the village. So people were practicing this rainwater harvesting. So maybe because of compulsions, circumstances, we might have moved away from this. And today we are trying to bring them back in our profession. Similarly, use of locally available materials. Green building concept encourages you to use the materials required for the building which are available locally. So they don't encourage material to be brought from very far off areas. A simple example which we can think of is there is a craze to use, just for example I am telling, people use let us say Italian marble in India. So need for, you have to bring the marble all the way, transport it from Italy to India, if it is an Italian marble. Instead, you can use our locally available material that will reduce your transportation and also indirectly saves the precious fuel. So that is the whole concept of this green. Try to use the materials which are locally available and locally means what sometimes they mean is within a radius of about 200 or 250 kilometers. Then building must have a good energy efficient envelope, the coverings. All the buildings, the walls used to be very thick that provided not only safety, also thermal comfort. But today we are moving to very thin and thin wall sections. We talked about from 1 feet to 1 foot wall to say 9-inch wall. Now we are moving to 6 inches wall outside, and sometimes we prefer no walls at all. We prefer to have glazing. So when we are going for thin and thin, obviously we need to give considerable importance to the energy efficient aspect of that envelope also. Then daylight harvesting, like rainwater harvesting, when the rain comes, we have to have measures to preserve and store the water. Similarly, daylight harvesting, how to bring the sunlight inside the building. All the buildings, definitely we had, our people had put these small glasses in the rooftop, they fixed, so that allowed natural sunlight to come in. But those days it was not so efficient. Along with the light, heat also used to come. But if you see the modern day, modern structures where you have the sunlight harvesting, daylight harvesting, it might come with the glazing, with the kind of reflective coating or film that will allow only the light to pass through, maximum light to pass through, but not the heat. Uh, so, so the concept is not new. We had practiced in the past. In between, probably it had gone out of the track, and we are trying to bring it back. Similarly, when they constructed inside and outside, they had a seamless connectivity with the help of this jali or grills kind of things. Same thing we are also practicing here. If you see this courtyard concept, quite popular in Kerala style and Kerala houses or Chettinad Palace or Chettinad areas, you will find this called courtyard. Central portion of the building, it's a huge open area. It allowed lighting, ventilation, and also when it rains, allowed collection of this rainwater, and that to percolate into the ground and probably raise the groundwater table. So all these are not new. Now coming to this slide where green home versus conventional home, as I said earlier, appearance wise you don't really find the difference if you go by the appearance. Like a singer and myself standing next to him, both are human beings, but when it comes to performance, singer performance will be definitely better than mine. Like that green building also appearance wise looks same, but functionally yes, and the basic difference will be in terms of excellent day lighting, better ventilation, and there is the optimum energy consumption and a good amount of water saving. Conservation of natural resources, as I said earlier, by using either recycled material or materials that can be recycled post the life period of the building, and indoor air quality. Now, I talked about two agencies, IGBC and Griha. I just slightly go deep into it. Griha is an Indian agency. It's a society registered in India. So they practice this green rating system. So any person interested to construct their project and go for green certification, this agency gives the certification in terms of stars. It's one single star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, or 5 star, depending on the green compliance the project is making. These are the various parameters on which they assess the green requirements of the project. For example, you go to serial number 9. It is called rainwater harvesting. So if your building is having provision for harvesting the rainwater, then maximum credit or point you can score is 4 points. So like this, for each and every aspect, they are given the maximum points. So out of 50, if you are able to get 50 out of 50, then your building may be rated as a 5-star rated Griha green building. The same thing IGBC also has, but on a similar line, but slightly different. Here in Griha, if it is a star rating, in IGBC it is platinum rated, gold rated, or silver rated. Just for your information, Griha is organizing a case studies webinar coming 28th May. So if you are further interested, you can visit the website and register yourself, attend the program. A lot of practical examples will be shared there also. So that will probably help you to get further motivation. IGPC also, I said earlier, they also have the rating system. They have rating system for independent houses, gated communities, apartments, even existing buildings we can convert into green, hostel service apartments. Not only housing sector, even commercial buildings, institutional buildings, hospital buildings, sports complexes, township, any kind of structure you can make it green with the proper mechanism. Now the 5 broad categories I shared earlier, which I simply called as Panchabhutas just for ease of understanding. Site selection, water efficiency, energy efficiency, materials and resources, indoor environmental quality, and innovation also they are giving some credits. Now here there are 2 columns I have shared here. One is for the independent house, the other is for the apartments. For independent house, the maximum credits what they give is 75 as per IGPC, and for apartments about 100 credits. Just we'll see each one very briefly. If we say site selection and planning, under this they have given about 9 broad parameters. So each parameter they have given some credits. Now if you take apartment project on the extreme right column, and you see the SSP credit 5, parking facilities for visitors, 10% provision. So you will get 1 credit. One of the major drawback, if you are quite familiar with the apartment culture, many apartments if you visit, you will always find a board on the main gate, visitors parking not allowed. So sometimes we get irritated. My relative is staying here, I have come to meet him, but they are not allowing me in. So now this green building, what they says, if you allocate 10% of the parking area for visitors, then you get 1 credit. Similarly, now future you'll find mostly a lot of electric vehicles. Currently, we are conventionally using petrol and diesel vehicles. Maybe because of pollution aspect, we may come across a lot of electric vehicles. So in that case, if you have charging facilities for we provide charging facilities for electric vehicles, then there also you get 1 credit. Kindly give me 1 minute, please. Thank you. Now, if you see the next point, design for differently abled. In the individual house, it is given 1 credit, whereas for apartment, it is given 2 credits. For example, building generally is designed keeping adult members in mind, but the building might be used by people of different ages, from young children to old aged people. So in addition to the steps, if you are able to provide a ramp, that's a simple concept. Understanding the requirement of the occupants or people who are going to use it, and accordingly you design your project. So that is given some credit. For example, if you provide a ramp, it is considered in the credit awarding system. Another simple thing we can tell about is when you use the bathrooms and toilets for aged people, for them sitting up and down, they need some external support. So some places they used to provide on small folder, which is at a lower level, so that will help the elderly people to hold on to that and get up. So those kind of small things also matter in green buildings. In one places, they have kept the door knob at a slightly lower level instead of the regular say 3 feet height or 4 feet, 3.5 feet, 4 feet height. They kept it at a lower level so that elderly people also sitting itself they will be able to open. So human consideration and designing the structures accordingly is given a lot of weightage in this green concept. Now moving to the next criteria, water efficiency. Just sharing few points, not all the points. It's all very easy to understand. Uh, in under water efficiency, here you see water efficient plumbing fixtures. Now, traditionally, we have water taps, but scientifically, we generally people don't look into the mechanism of how the tap functions, what is the consumption of water, flow of water from the tap. But there are no water efficient plumbing fixtures available where you can it can lead to saving of water up to 80% also, which is unimaginable. So traditionally, if a normal tap you open for 2 minutes or 5 minutes, and a 20-liter bucket gets filled. Just a second, please. Just a second, please. Oh. Only. Okay, only. Sorry. Yes, I'm very sorry for this inconvenience. So now there are a lot of plumbing fixtures available, which can save a lot of water. Basically, up to 80% efficiency is available. Maybe at the end of the presentation, I requested the organizer to show video clipping that run for 1 minute to understand the importance of this plumbing fixture. As a user, we may not really understand or give much importance to these plumbing fixtures, but as the owner of the facility, definitely they will understand the pain of this. For example, if you are owning a hotel and the guests who are coming to stay for stay, they will not mind spending water. But as a owner of the hotel, definitely you will understand the pain of purchasing water. So you will try to go for fixtures that will reduce the consumption of water at the same time without compromising on the comfort of the guest. One example is the ITC hotels all across the country. They had gone for all their buildings are green rated buildings. All their hotel projects are green rated projects. Not only water, they have gone for a lot of green measures. Maybe if time permits, if you browse through the website of ITC, you will find what green features they have incorporated, including the waste treatment. Even simple kitchen side, they use a lot of non-veg items. The bones, whatever they collect, they also have a facility to properly crush the bone and use it for some other purpose. Even to that extent, they have gone for green features. Similarly, rainwater harvesting, as I discussed earlier, if the apartment or house has, then it is given a maximum 4 credits. And see the last point, water metering. Something quite strange for us because we normally we use water, but we don't like electricity. We don't have meter for water. We have EB meter, and every month or alternate month we pay for the electricity. But do we pay for water? We only pay water tax and maybe for water tankers. But do we really measure the water consumed? 99% cases, the answer is no. We don't measure. Simple reason is we take it for granted. It is available in plenty, in abundance. But it is, the hard fact is, it is a natural resource and its availability is finite. So time will come where we have to definitely measure the water being consumed. Like piped gas connection, we measure how much quantity we consume, accordingly we are billed. So a lot of apartments, many leading cities, they have the water measuring system and they are charged as per the consumption. Am I audible? Am I audible, madam, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Third aspect is energy efficiency. We talked about use of renewable energy. Here they are talking about on-site renewable energy. Most popular is solar. Wind we have probably not much used in the residential sector at many places, but solar, yes, definitely it's a very common sight. But 20 years back when solar was introduced, it was a very fancy item. Today it's quite common, people have accepted, but still we have to go a long way. Not a major push, much push is given, not much incentives are being utilized. If we go for solar, maybe our dependence on the grid will come down. Or if everybody goes for solar, we in fact can be supplying the electricity to the grid, and we can get the revenue also. So there are some places where people generate electricity through solar and they supply to the grid and they get paid for it also. So that kind of system also we can think of. And coming to the materials and resources, another broad category where green futures can be incorporated. Some of the point is material with the recycled content, use of locally available materials, and reuse of salvaged materials. Basically all leads to common sense approach and collective wisdom. Indoor environmental quality, here major they talk about ventilation and use of low VOC materials or paints and adhesives. VOC, volatile organic compound. Sometimes when you use a paint, you get strong odor, smell coming. So that is actually not good as far as humans are concerned. So today materials are paint available with the low VOC content that emits low smell, lead and other things. So those can be used. And innovation and design is also given some additional consideration. If you are taking help of one already accredited professional, use him as a consultant, then that is also considered in the credit award system. What green homes did differently, some of the examples. Some people, they had gone for total LED lights for interior and exteriors. They have used extensively fly ash blocks or bricks. They have insulated walls. This point is very important in the present scenario. Many people whom I talk to today, they are complaining it is very hot outside. Heat is very high today. And weather forecast, every day they announce in the TV or radio, next to 4 days, please don't go out. Heat is, it's tremendously hot because of the cyclone in Odisha and West Bengal. A lot of moisture taken away from these areas, so you'll have excessive heat. and we also feel the heat inside the houses. So one point here, what I would like to tell, in our projects we use lot of materials, but all these materials, are they energy efficient materials? We need to give a thought to this. So insulated walls and efficient split air conditioning, vermicomposting systems, and good cross ventilations, daylighting. Now one major question is, you see this daylighting in 90% of regularly occupied spaces. Is my house having daylight covering 90% of the house area? It's a big question mark. Today, I am staying in an apartment where one of my room is totally dark throughout 24 hours. Evening time, I have to use artificial electricity, but daytime it's totally dark. So what green homes did differently, continuing that, some places they have piped biogas connection. Some people have converted kitchen waste into natural fertilizers. And they have used solar panels. Some of the examples, some of the inner ideas. Here you can see people going for increased cover at the roof cover. Generally, roof is one area which receives maximum heat from sun. Maybe between say 11 to 3 or 4 o'clock. So that time only maximum heat actually gets absorbed by the roof surface and either gets partially reflected back, transmitted, or conducted or radiated. So if we take care of the roof system, in this case you see here, the entire terrace is converted into a kind of beautiful miniature park kind of thing, garden kind of thing, and people are able to go for walk also. So it's all our collective mindset and the common agreement. And if you do this, probably the heat, top floor won't have much heat. Alternatively, simple concept on the right side, you can use white colored tiles or white paint coating to reflect the heat. Somebody, in addition to providing roof cover, he has connected all the towers and converted that into a walking track. So you don't have to go outside for walk, go to the terrace for walk. So that is somebody's innovative idea. And not only roof areas, non-roof areas, wherever possible, instead of leaving it a plain concrete cemented surface, create some kind of greeneries, grass. So that will help to absorb, minimize the heat absorption. Then water efficiency. Here you can see here, right, small item is shown here. This is called aerators. Very, very small in size, but it results in huge savings. If this is a tap, suppose without aerator, it will allow flow rate will be very high. But with the aerator, the flow rate will be very less, but the efficiency and the effectiveness will improve drastically. So very small innovation, but it has resulted in huge, mind-blowing savings, almost up to 80% also. And I suggest if you can visit this website, Eco 365. Just for example, I have put a lot of companies are available who are developing these aerators that helps to save.
Hello.
Hello.
Sir?
Yes.
Sir, PPT is not visible, sir.
No,
No, it is visible. You have to pin.
Manikandan, PPT is visible only. It's clear.
Okay.
Pin the PPT. Sir, name pin the PPT. Participant.
Okay, ma'am.
PPT did not visible.
Participants kindly pin the PPT. Sir name has come as Venki. You just pin your bell symbol. You pin the PPT.
Pin the Venki K name.
Sir, you can proceed, sir.
Okay. Thank you, madam. Thank you. I just shown an example of one company's website. If you visit, you will understand how many green products they are making and how it is benefiting millions of users. Results in huge water savings also. Then on-site STP to treat the sewage, rainwater harvesting, stormwater management. Then going for new plant species. So these may require limited water in the beginning. Once it is grown, it may not require water also. There are plants species which are drought tolerant, doesn't need much water. So if you go for those plants that will have a green cover, it will minimize the absorption of heat, gives you a cool environment surrounding. At the same time, doesn't consume much water. So those kind of plants and species we can opt for in our projects. Maybe we can take the help of horticulturalists. There are specialists available. We can suggest such kind of things in our projects. Another important thing is the orientation of the building to receive maximum light and ventilation. Even some of the projects, if you see the advertisement itself, comes in paper is towers with 3 side openings. So that is they advertise. That is to give a commitment to the buyers that you will have a sufficient lighting and ventilation. Another green feature, innovative feature is harnessing daylight. We talked about that skylight, putting a glass panel in the rooftop. That might benefit the people in the top floor. But what about the people in the intermediate floors? What about people, suppose you are constructing a building 4 basement. So how do you take natural light into the basements? It's a big challenge. Above the surface superstructure, okay, you will have some natural light. You can provide windows, doors that will allow lighting to come inside. But substructure below the surface, 3 basement, 4 basement, how do we bring sunlight? So one concept what they have adopted is the concept of sun pipe. So here you have the pipe. At the top is the receiver point where it receives the sunlight, and inside the pipe you have the reflectors that will allow the light to reflect and go inside. And on the right side you have the receiver end of this pipe which is receiving the light, and that comes into the room. So here, I'll just show you the next slide. This is the concept of the sun pipe. You have the light collector. There are 3 systems. One is the light collector, second reflective system inside the pipe, and at the receiving end you have the light diffuser. You cannot allow the light as it is to come into the room because it will be too bright. So you need to have diffuser kind of thing. So this concept is quite useful if you have a basement and daytime you don't have to depend on electricity. Throughout the day you are harvesting the sunlight, and if it is a huge commercial complex with minus 4 floors, 5 floors, then the savings are tremendous. And 100% usage of LED, that is also considered green. Energy appliances, energy efficient appliances, going for 3-star, 4-star, 5-star. Though investment initially will be slightly higher, but in terms of operational cost, it will come down. Then cross ventilation definitely will help to take away the heat trapped inside the rooms. And another huge important societal impact is the waste management. So one clear point which we should understand is segregation of waste at source. Everybody at the individual level, if everybody is able to segregate the source, segregate the waste according to their nature, degradable, biodegradable, hospital waste, electronic waste, e-waste, if you are able to segregate, then the collection becomes easier, processing becomes easier, at the community level. Then construction waste management, another area where people can save money. Generally, construction waste ranges even goes up to 20% also. So if it is a 100 crore project, and if your wastage is 10%, 10 crore is waste. So your waste is also a wealth if you are able to manage it properly. So here some example, people are gathering the waste, managing it, and then selling it. They are also able to get revenue. Then use of materials with recycled content. A lot of materials are available which are made with the recycled content, or the material can be recycled after usage. Aluminum frame, cement, even in cement, for example, I must tell you the PPC, blended cement, Portland Pozzolana cement, or PSC, Portland slag cement. Just for example sake, they use industrial waste generated from thermal plant fly ash or steel plant slag. So if you are in your project, if you are using cement with this recycled content or waste content generated from other plants, but beneficial to the cement industry, construction sector, such materials also should be used. Fly ash bricks is another example of recycled content. Steel is a classic example of material with a good research standard. Steel after usage becomes a scrap. Scrap after processing becomes steel. So that's a good recyclable material. In Ultratech, our PPC, PSC have almost more than 50 plus products. All our products are Green Pro certified products. Then reuse of materials. Suppose you have done the tiling in some areas, what you are going to do with the broken tiles? We can throw it, option number one, or with the common agreement, use it in other areas. Like in this case, pathway, you have used broken tiles. So instead of buying again separately tiles and getting waste, you are probably using a waste material here and converting into something useful application. So saving cost also, at the same time utilizing it in a proper way. The common acceptance. Other salvaged materials, in this case, if you see the main gate, the wood used is actually not purchased separately. The client has received a lot of packing materials. So the packing materials he has cut in some good shape and converted that into main gate. So instead of spending separately 40,000-50,000 rupees on main gate, he has agreed to reuse the packing wood, and he has saved money and it is serving its purpose. So what is important is the collective system. The use of low VOC lines, as I said earlier, exposure to high uses can trigger this problems for our human beings. So today a lot of paints are available with the low volatile organic compounds that reduces, that emits very less smell and low volatile content. Vermicomposting is another area. Kitchen waste is converted into natural fertilizers. I must say here, I mean, I'm not sure about other corporations. I have seen Chennai Corporation, Corporation of Chennai, have created a composting pit each locality and encourage residents to bring your waste, it's organic waste, dump it in the pit. So they are converting that. It's a community initiative being practiced at the Corporation of Chennai. I have seen some places. So those kind of things also leads to greener environment. And high performance glazing, as I said, it allows light, maximum light, very less heat. Today, on leading example of a company, we can say Saint-Gobain, and the leading manufacturer of glass. They produce glass with the reflective coatings or films, which has low U value, low shading coefficient, and high visual transmission. This is quite useful in case of IT parks, IT companies, where the total envelope is covered with glazing, because we need maximum daylighting. Maximum daylight incomes, your dependency on electricity will come down. You are indirectly saving. At the same time, heat should not come, so they have the glass with the high solar reflective index, SRI. And I'm one example. There is one house in Odisha taken from this website, and see here some of the green features incorporated in the building. If you come under energy category, 88% of the living area falls under daylight zone. Okay, and in the water and waste, use of low flow fixtures reduces the building water demand by 40%, and they have got rainwater storage capacity, and it has reduced landscape water demand. Hello.
Some disturbance, sir. You can proceed,
Okay,
sir.
okay. So benefits of green homes. Benefits are tangible and intangible. Tangible is visible to our eyes. We can practically observe. Intangibles are something indirect benefits. Tangible benefits. Buildings are actually our factory only. It also has an operating cost. Generally, people, the perception is, okay, we'll buy a house, give it for rent. So we consider rent as the income. But other than the rent income, what is important is reduction in operating cost. So reduction in cost leads to actually saving is earning. So when you reduce the operating cost, you save the money also. Energy saving up to 35%, water saving up to 35%. Here I'm just showing you 3 examples. Here is building B1, B2, B3. B1 170 square feet area. If it is a normal building, the electricity bill would have come 48 lakhs. Because of green features incorporated, the energy cost has come to about 31 lakhs. So they are able to get a saving of 40%, and annually they are able to save. That means building is also giving you returns because of the green features incorporated. Again, there is a attached to it. It all depends on local climate, density, occupancy schedule, school building occupancy schedule. Daytime, everybody will be there. Evening time, rarely people will be there. So, what kind of building, occupancy schedule, the orientation of the building, internal loads, etc. Benefits, yes, in terms of environmental benefit, reduce impact on the environment. The health and safety benefits, people will definitely feel comfortable inside a green building because of good natural ventilation and healthy air circulation, and that will ultimately lead to better productivity. Third question comes, do green building cost more? And it all depends on the green features already considered and what kind of rating you want to go for. The highest rating, probably you have to put a lot of efforts. Again, you don't look at the cost as an initial cost. You have to look at overall life cycle costs. Here you can see the next table here. Building B1, it was constructed in 2003 with a built-up area of 20,000 square feet. IGBC was platinum rated. When it was constructed in 2003, the cost overshoot by 18% compared to normal traditional building, but they got the money back in 7 years payback period. Coming down, see the building in B7, 2010 with the 8 lakh square feet area. Here the cost increase is only 2%. They got the money back in 2 years. So if you extrapolate this, the current trend is the cost of green building will be at par with the conventional building, or sometimes maybe even less also. So that means what you are building, if you are constructing green, it will start giving return even from day day one. So what is important is it is how to for green. It's in the application of conventional wisdom, orientation of being, for our neighborhood, and application of to minimize the use of materials, which is just described by 3 R's: reduce, reuse, or recycle. So to sum up, green buildings it offers excellent opportunity to reduce operating costs from one. So build will give you in terms of energy savings, water savings, and healthy ambience for the occupants, tangible and intangible benefits, and also long-term benefits. So green definitely makes a business sense, and we find today architects, architectural students, practicing architects, architect as a profession, they have taken a huge lead in creating a green revolution in building. Engineering segment also should follow, and they should catch up this. Otherwise, they are missing the huge opportunity which architects they have seized. They have already taken a huge leap ahead. Engineering community also should go for it at the individual level. So we can go for any kind of buildings green, whether it is places where we live or places where we learn, places we work. Anything can be made green, and ultimately it will result in better quality of life, not only for the individual, even for the community also. So green should be our way of life for sustainability, and it is our collective responsibility. For further information, I request you can visit these two agencies' websites. They offer a lot of information. They conduct a lot of programs, training programs for students. They conduct webinars. They also give certification. Any person interested to become a green building consultant, they train and make you green building consultant, and you can start practicing. So, and the people are very friendly, and they're willing to share as much information as possible to benefit the professionals and also the community. So thank you very much for the patient listening. I hope I have done justice to my job. Thank you.
Any participants, any questions?
Madam?
Participants, any questions? Shall we? Participants.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. I need to know something about U values. You said something about U values. I don't know, sir. What is that U value, sir?
That is applicable with respect to glazing, sir. Suppose 100% light is falling on out of that, how much heat is allowed to pass through? How much light is allowed to pass through? So there are two factors. They are associated. The U value. The second is the shading coefficient. So
okay, sir.
In that particular 1 minute, this picture. You're able to see the slide?
Yes, sir. I can see.
So in this, how much light is allowed to pass inside? 100% will not be allowed to pass inside. They may have 75%, 80% light to pass through, and they will cut nearly 80% heat also.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
These are all applicable for glazing concepts. If you are going for total glazing, covering the entire building envelope, like IT park, glazing, correct na?
Yes, sir.
So there, this in terms of energy savings and efficiency.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. We had a wonderful session. Your lecture was very informative and it was very clear, easily understandable. I would like to thank all the participants for patient listening. Thank you. I would like to thank the management also for permitting us to conduct this type of webinar lecture series. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. And thank you all the participants for the patient listening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Very informative session, sir.